Hey people of YouTube, this is my first YouTube video. 2011 Durango, changing the passenger and driver's blending doors for dual climate control. These are the things I took out of the passenger. This is the duct, although I think it was supposed to come off right here. The whole thing came down, so I have to wrestle that back on. A little felt trim piece, molded, comes off the bottom. And the glove box. Passenger side was pretty easy. With those three items removed, I got it. Driver's side, I think it was kind of in this order. These are the things I had to take off for success. And I want to thank the other YouTube guys that went before me that made videos. So I got this little felt piece, got this little piece of burl plastic fake wood. This is the light control, kind of like a kick plate that goes around the steering wheel. This is the duct work that had to be pulled off the bottom. The clips are a little pain to push in and try and pull down without mangling it. This metal plate, and what I didn't see in the videos before, maybe I missed it, this is crucial that you take that thing off. It makes it so much easier on the driver's side. Also had to relieve this piece as you go around and take off the lower kick plate with the light switch on it for to control the lights, and this piece of semi-molded round fake wood. You'll see that how it comes off in sequence. Just be ginger with it, use plastic. Listen to the other YouTube videos, just be ginger and pry it and everything, and you should be good. So I got both sides in, and man, that upper screw is a barracuda. It's right up there, the gold to the upper right over the red release for the plug for the driver's side actuator. So you have a flat spot on this spline gear drive that correlates with the flat spot inside of the gear that goes to the upper damper. So what I did was I relieved that plastic lock so I can get the orientation of the flat shaft in the right spot. So when I landed it, the holes for the screws lined up, if that makes any sense at all. So I had to turn on the truck with it plugged in, and it'll start moving and stuff. And what I did was I semi-released that lock and I unplugged it as soon as it got to the orientation I needed. Now I had to bump it around a few times to get it right, and you might have to jack with the temperature going up and down. But I released that lock. I had that released and primed, ready to go, and just pull that plug out. If there is an easier way to index this thing without power, by all means share, but I think you're just going to tear it up if you try and muscle it around without using the electricity to bump it. Just a little tip there. But that's it. I'll try and add something else to this video if I can remember. Just patience. You know, these guys that did it in 3 or 4 hours, hey man, bless their hearts. I'm just kind of a handy guy, not a mechanic, but it was the YouTube guys before me that made these videos. I want to thank them all. And it can be done. Now I got to get it back together without it rattling. But I'm very happy. I tested it. Both dampers work good, and I'm good to go. Thank you. Hello YouTube people. I had some more thoughts after I made the initial video. Now I got to compose my thoughts and write them down, sitting down here at the beautiful Detroit River with my lovely wife having a nice coffee. I thought I would share my thoughts on what I missed. So I did do both sides of the dampers for the passenger and driver side for the dual climate control. I'd like to thank my brother James for loaning me his Matco ratcheting screwdriver set, which was about 3 inches long and about 3/8 of an inch thick. You will need that tool to do it. Maybe not Matco, but I will try and put a picture in here, considering it's my first video, to a picture of a Craftsman one I found on the Amazons. So I would like to acknowledge that people in prior videos also mentioned removing the battery cable so you didn't accidentally set off the airbag, which is another $1,000 bill. So I did not do that. I kind of forgot about it. Plus I needed the power to index my actuator around, so I left it at that. So you may want to do that so you don't hit something under that dashboard and trip the airbag. So back to this little wrench thing on that upper screw that I pointed out in the video. Here's what I did. I'm gonna try and put a pic in here of the two T20 Torx tips I cut down. I put the smallest one in there, so bear with me. With the Torx tip, with your head by the gas pedal and the Torx tip wrench facing the firewall, I shoehorned the bit into the head just a little, and I just kind of cranked it around, and lo and behold, it popped right in for me. I couldn't have got luckier. That was my approach, because that is the hardest part of this job, is that upper screw. Can't say that enough. Actuator price, if needed. Know this going forward. The dealership wanted to charge 130 bucks for a actuator. Okay, it got me over the barrel. So I go to AutoZone with an actuator to compare it to that I took off my Durango. 33 bucks. So know that there are aftermarket for the actuator. Now the gear that goes on the actuator is not aftermarket. No one had that at the auto parts. They were $15 and some cents at the one dealership I went to, Feldman in Woodhaven. But when I called Taylor, Chrysler, Telegraph, Jeep, Dodge, Ram people, they were 30 some bucks a piece. And come to find out, they're independently owned and they can set their prices at whatever they like. So know that going forward. Shop around. Just a thought I had. I wonder if one of these little gears can be made on a 3D printer. For all you tech savvy people, give it a whirl, because the guy at the dealership said, yeah, we sell a lot of these things. That's a great feeling. So there's a bunch of people pissed off out there trying to change these out in their driveway like I was. But I took it upon myself. I just tried to save some money, and I did. Pointing this out, the mode damper, which changes the position of the damper, which puts it to the dashboard and the feet and the defroster. That's the mode actuator per my Chiltons that I bought to do this job to help me along. And it was working fine. I took it through its cycles with my wife. She pushed a button while I watched it move, and it worked fine. The point I'm making is, if you have to change that out, it is from the passenger side, and it is up there a little bit higher, and I think it would be a handful. But it can be accessed from the passenger side as well. That bracket that I pointed out that kind of looks like a figure 8 for the driver's side, that thing is sharp as hell. So be careful handling that. I guess the supplier didn't see fit to burnish it or tumble it in something to ease the edges. So I'm sure there's some people working in the shop or the manufacturing with cuts and digits lost, because that thing is sharp. It'll get you. It got me a little. So heads up on that. Also, I forgot to mention, I did remove the little side cover that faces the driver's door as part of the pieces on the driver's side. And what else do I got here? I would highly recommend, I didn't do this, taping the screws to the panel or piece that you take off so you can orientate them back to where they go, because I have one screw left and I cannot find where it goes, and I did try. I looked everywhere to see where this thing went on the driver's side, and I can't find it. I guess it will result in a rattle, and then I'll know where to put it. Make sure when you're modifying these T20 Torx with your cutoff wheel, careful holding that with some vice grips, it'll get you. And if you try and shorten it by cutting off the Torx tip itself, I don't know if I'd advise that, because you might have to do a lot of tuning up to get it to go inside the screw head. And when you're dealing with it way up there, Helen Keller style, trying to feel your way in on it, you don't want no little burr or anything holding you out. So I would just stick with cutting off the octagon end of the Torx tip and go with that. It'll work. You just got to take quite a bit off. And at the end of the day, I have temperature control on the passenger and the driver's side. I can run it from hot air down to cool air. They both work fine, which they did not before. They were stuck in the hot position, but I still have a coolant issue leak. And it looks like the $1,000 to $1,300 that is forecasted that the repair I did will cost, I just may get to reinvest that in my coolant issue. That is all I have. Appreciate everyone again that made videos and inspired me to go ahead and tackle this job. It was a bear, but you can do it with some patience. Good luck.